If you win the regular season, do you think that guarantees you a spot in the NCAA tournament, or do you worry about that?
I would hope so. I don't know. I don't, you know, when I see the computer system that is used as a metric to identify a team's worth, and I see when teams loses to certain teams they drop, and then some teams lose to certain teams and they don't drop. So I don't understand it. So I don't know how anybody that's making decisions can understand if that's their only tool. So I'm hoping there's some humanistic value to that, and you play in a conference like we play in, and you win the league, that would warrant opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. Absolutely.
This is kind of around the time of year in football where coaches start lobbying for their team to make the playoff. I know it's a little different for y'all because you can win the conference and get in no matter what, but if you were to lobby for your team, what would kind of be some of the talking points you would use?
Well, I think like some teams, that's why I think how you're playing later in the year is more important than how you play at the beginning of the year, because teams improve, and the goal is to have the best teams in the country playing for a national title. That would be something that you looked at. And obviously, we're better now than we were in November. We're better now than we were in December. We're better now than we were in January, I think. So we've made improvements, and I do think there's some value to when you have, you have some pieces of your team that are not playing in certain games, and all that stuff has to be evaluated and play into the what they use as a formula to decide. But I think our team is of such. We have had great improvements as the years progressed, and that's why our conference play, we're playing a better schedule in conference than we did non-league, and we're playing better and we're winning games, and hopefully that is something that we'll use in the decision-making process.
Along those same lines, Coach, we lobbying for that. Lobby for Martin Zigbano.
Yeah.
Should be the sixth man of the year in the conference.
Easily. I think, and this is me, obviously he's my player, I think he should have some consideration for for Conference Player of the Year. I think he's should have some consideration for first team all league, and I think all three of those things. I mean Martin's play, if you look at his numbers, what he's done consistently, field goal percentage, he's at the top of the league. He's one of the top three scorers in the league. His team is winning. I think all those are reasons you look at, and I'd say this kid, and obviously, like I said, he's our player, but there's no question I think he deserves some consideration for Player of the Year in the conference too, along with being Sixth Man of the Year.
Going off of that, Martins and Lawson Creed are going to be honored for Senior Day. What have they meant to this program, starting as freshmen to where they are now?
Martins and Lawson both have grown so much, but I think as student athletes, first and foremost, these guys are consistent students, and we all see just their basketball side of it. But in terms of human beings, in terms of character and what they've meant to this community, and not just this basketball program, has been incredible. And, I love both those kids. They've been special to me as my family. There's no question they're going to be successful once they leave Tulsa. But they've been special, not just players, but special to this community and this university, what they've meant over the last 4 years.
What's it say about this conference? You're taking on a team like UCF, who's down near the bottom of the standings, but they've beaten you, they've beaten Cincinnati.
Yeah. They beat Cincinnati. They're really good. The team we just played, Tulane, beat Cincinnati and beat SMU. So, it's a great league. It's a great basketball league. And I don't know that people across the country realize it, how good a basketball league we have. And, Central Florida is outstanding. And, I think, we're going to have to play. Obviously we didn't have Brandon. We played him up there. But, Johnny's a great coach. They got Colin Smith's a great talent. They can shoot the ball. we're going to have our work cut out for us on Saturday afternoon.
Obviously, you've had Martin's coming off the bench. What do you do with him for senior day?
Ooh, I haven't thought about that, Kelly. You stumped me. I don't know. We'll have to ask Martins and see what he wants to do. I'll let old coach will let the player decide. I'll let him decide what he wants to do.
You talked about how much this team has improved since the beginning of the season to now. Is it frustrating at all to look back at some of these losses you had in non-conference and think if we could have just pulled off some of those, we wouldn't have to be lobbying for the NCAA tournament like that?
I don't spend time looking back much because there's nothing I can do about what is in the past. I mean, and I think that's what I've tried to do with our team. When we have those losses, I mean, you can't go back and change anything. All you can do is stay in the present and look towards the future. And so I haven't wasted any of my energy or time, looking back at any of those games, because some of those games are reason we are where we're at today, because you learn from those experiences. And I think that's the best way to look at it. And I look across the country, and I was watching South Carolina play last night. They have a loss to Stetson. They have a loss to, I think, Hartford, somebody early. I mean, Kentucky is one of the top 10 teams in the country, and they had a loss to Evansville. I don't think they've even won a conference game. So we're no different than any teams in the country. And I think hopefully it's not looked at differently than what it looked at some of the other teams. And I will go back and look at where's Evansville ranked, and they beat Kentucky at Kentucky. So those things happen. So I can't go back and dwell on it. I'm sure Calipari ain't dwelling on it. Those are experiences that you have, and you grow from them. And I think we learn from those experiences, and that's why we're where we're at now.
This season has been pretty unpredictable with games like what you just mentioned. Does that make it more unpredictable what a committee is going to do?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, when you have these guys give their opinions, no one knows the people in that room. They're human beings. They're not a computer. And what how they look at and evaluating these teams. And I'm hopeful that there is some humanistic look at, how a team's playing their last 10 or 15 games, and, they come in some consideration, because you're playing really good teams in your league when you're playing those last games. And I'm hoping that's part of the criteria that they will look at. There's going to be some surprises. I mean, no one knows what, at the end of the day, what's going to happen. But all we can do is focus on winning. And that's what you can do. You just got to keep winning. And, we have a huge game Saturday afternoon, and we just got to keep winning. And then we got a couple more games for a conference tournament. Just got to keep winning.
Looking back on the schedule, I know we just said we don't look back, but can you think of a game that was maybe more of a turning point, whether it was a loss that the team kind of realized that this is a team that they could compete, maybe it was a win against someone, or maybe you felt like there was a turning point in the season?
I don't know that I could do that, to be honest with you, because I just think, I focus on each individual game and what we didn't do, what we must do to get better. I've always felt like this team could improve from where we were at that point in time, and we just kept gradually improving. I think that stretch where we had Colorado State and K-State, there were two tough losses, but we played well enough to win both games. And but I saw us do some really good things in both those games against really good teams. And then we got into conference play right after that. So, but I don't know that I could point to a game. When we got into conference play, we had the Temple win, and we had the tough loss at Cincinnati. Then we come back and beat Houston. It kind of all morphs together. And I think this team is what they have done is they've bounced back, and that's a sign of a good team from tough losses. Some teams, we haven't had those long stretches of letting a loss hurt us to the point where we can't win right after that. I don't care how the loss will happen. This team has been a team that's shown some resiliency, and I think that's the one thing I could point to about this ball club. And they've come to practice after those tough losses, wanting to work, and they've seen results. So this team hasn't gotten down on themselves from those tough losses.
How important is a top 4 seed in the conference tournament, getting that bye?
Oh, I think if you can get a bye and you play one less game to win a championship, I think that's great. So, we've been fortunate enough. I think this is our 6th year. I think we've had a bye I don't know, Kelly, you probably know, 3 out of 5 years? I think so. Yeah, so, if you got to win 3 games as opposed to 4, I think that's great. It just gives you one less game. And, that first game you play I know is always tough because the 2 teams are playing before you, so they have a feel for the court, particularly you're in an environment you haven't been in. They've played in a court, and that's usually that first game is really hard on you. So we've got to, if we're fortunate enough to get a bye, that first game is going to be hard, and regardless of who you play, because they've already played one game. But I'd rather have that than the other.
Martin's being so far from home, and this kind of became his home. How much have you seen him kind of embrace, the team, everyone as family,
Right.
because he's so far from his.
Yeah, he's a special young man, and I obviously doing this a long time. Martin and I have spent a lot of time talking to each other because of that. I mean, we are his family, and he's embraced that. This is my family. He still talks to his mom. His mom calls me. She speaks English very well too, by the way. She can call me at any time, and anytime Martin's phone is not working or something, and she's calling me, and I'm like, I'm looking right at him. And he's going to be right back with you. 10 minutes later, she's calling me again. I'm like, Martin, would you please call your mom so she could stop calling me right now? But he's special because for a guy, I look at his senior year and I asked him to come off the bench, and he totally just trusts, what we felt was best for him. And there's not a lot of people would do that, I think. And I think he has, and that's why he's going to be successful because he's a hard worker and, but there's no question that his teammates are his brothers. And, he's passionate about, being a part of a family. He's been away from his family since his freshman year in high school, And I think his mom is trying to come when he graduates. She's not going to make the trip for this game, but I think she's going to try to get over here for graduation. But I think I'm going to walk him out.